Hello, hello. How is everybody? It's Susan Lynn. I'm live. It's Friday night. We're going to talk about the week that we've had. Whatever you got to do to get through the week, chocolate, cheese, popcorn, you do you, whatever works for you. So good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, I agree. An hour later was even later for me, and it was really late on the East Coast. So I adjusted it so it's 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Everybody else is in the middle. And if I have to, I'll have to move it even earlier. But I think this will work for now. Yeah, catnap is like weed. I'm like, hey, like I said, do you right? Just understand that we're going to get through this, and then we're going to have to get rid of our addictions that we started during this time. So just be aware that whatever you start, probably going to have to reverse your way back out of it, because I really want to wait for people to come on before I start saying some things that I've been getting that are positive. So we'll just chat for a second, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff because there really is stuff happening. Yes. Article, let's just jump right in, right? Why don't we, right? Rose Blue says, is NATO discussing Article 5 since Turkey was attacked? I took half of the day off today. I actually got a massage. I practice in my self-care. I only looked at the news for a second and I saw something that I'm going to have to talk about tonight for sure, but I didn't realize that Turkey has been attacked. But it makes sense because Iran is attacking everybody. They're attacking Bahrain. They're attacking the Middle East. They don't care. If their missile can get there, they're going to attack it. It's really when you go into the energy of it, it's a war. It's a war against the world. It's like this country has accumulated all of these transgressions, all of these slights, and they're mad at everybody. And so they're just going to take this opportunity to make everybody pay. So yes, I do not think, yes, a massage is so really important. Um, I I don't think Article 5, I could be wrong, and this is the guides are saying this is a developing story, right? This is changing because I think this weekend could bring some other things. But when I look at the energy right now, NATO doesn't have the guides are calling it the signatories. They don't have the signatures. They don't have the agreement from enough countries to say yes, we're going to get in on this, because the thing that nobody's talking about, and partly it's because it's classified and partly because people are terrified to talk about it, but China and Russia are supporting Iran. So this do so now do you want to go to war with China, right? Like, I mean, this is not even possible because China supplies us with everything. We couldn't even live without Chinese goods. We're dependent on them. So this is a cat and mouse game, the guides are saying, but it has really big implications. So Turkey is a member of NATO. I guess, I mean, if you say so, I'm not saying they're not a member. I'm saying they're not going to do it. I'm saying that just because one member says Article 5, it has to be voted on. Even though it says attack one, you attack us all, there really does have to be a consensus that this was indeed an attack. Number one. Number two, it was indeed an attack that had those types of implications, wasn't a mistake. This is how Russia got away with so much, because NATO kept saying, oh, they didn't mean it, or oh, they won't go too far. And now we see what they've done to Ukraine, right? So I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't see them right now, today, Friday. I don't see them doing that. I will tell you, there will be developments over the weekend. There's something big happening on Monday. It could be a revelation, a revealing of something that's happened that calls for more serious discourse on this matter. Okay, that there's really something happening. I promise you. Um, but I get it. I get what you're saying. these countries just won't do it. This is why Ukraine is this is why Ukraine is being bombed to hell and back. Why, Gaza is being bombed. Yeah, you can ask a question, Maria Scorpio. Yep, put it in the comments. Let it rip. Let it rip. Yeah. Thank you. TGIF is better with me. That's nice. Thank you. Oh, yeah, personal question. I'm sorry, Maria. I see what you're saying now. I'm not doing personal questions, but your question was you and Philip will ever be together again. Don't ask the question if you don't want to know the answer. I don't think it's in your best interest to be with Philip. Honestly, your guides think you're prettier, hotter, and better than him, and you deserve better. And that's their message, and they're sticking to it. So that's maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm getting. Okay, but typically I'm not doing personal. I do personal things sometimes, but this isn't one of them. What is your question, Vanessa? So if Article 5 doesn't that kind of mean World War III? Yes. Yes, it does mean World War III. That's why I say they're not. I think, again, Russia has bombed other countries and been like, oops, my bad, right? Like, we've done it, right? We've done it. So, you know, I don't think it's something that they're gonna decide on lightly. And I also think there's other solutions coming to the forefront right now that that are that everyone is hoping is going to bypass that solution. And I'm going to talk about that because there really is something happening. Um yeah, I don't know if that's the sub. I got the USS. What did I get? Um Ulysses Grant. I got that sub. It's a nuclear powered sub. I don't know why I got it. And a Brooklyn girl, Linda, is saying that she read that a U.S. sub shot an Iranian ship. Is that the sub vision that I had? It could be war crimes. There's going to be people left live in the water, picked up by another country's ship to save them. That is the definition of war crimes: to disable, to leave people to die. That is actually, if they're still alive, Geneva Convention, that's what the guides are saying. I don't know, but we have to go. We all agreed to this. But the United States is not run by anybody who's normal or even a human, right? So we're not going to have that. But I am wearing stripes. I wanted to wait a little while before I said that, because when we moved it up an hour, it's harder for the West Coasters to join us. They're all going to fly in here in about 30 minutes, but I'm wearing stripes for a reason, because I only have one thing that has stripes on it, and my guides told me people are going to jail. They said this is it. They're going to jail. It's been not timeline is hard to predict, but it has been decided. This has been done. They're also talking about Ollie North. How many times have I mentioned Ollie North for no reason that I know of in the last month or 2 months? And also weapons of mass destruction. So these things, like fake reasons to go to war, but also Ollie North, like selling things. This is pretty much what Trump is doing. And it's treason. He's going to go to jail. He's going to go to prison. They're going to go to prison. This is why I'm wearing stripes today. Um, hmm. um, your question, Lavender Love, says, how do we get out of this war and win? I really want to wait. I want to wait just a little bit longer, because I saw something in the news, and I'm telling you, this is a big deal that happened. But the problem is, Lavender Love, when I go into this energy, the problem is this: we can remove ourselves from it. We can say, and this is what I think the Orange Cretin thought he was going to do. I think he thought he was going to say, oh, well, I did that, right? I did that thing. And now he's going to pull everybody out and go somewhere else. But we've already seen that this is not going to be the situation. So even if the United States pulls back, our troops, and we very, very well may, in the next month or even by May, but soon, they're going to continue fighting these other countries that are within physical distance to their missiles. I mean, this is not just, you can't just turn a switch off, right? These people, Iranians, are this mindset of multiple generations of carrying forth that vendetta, right? So just because we get out of it doesn't mean it stops, I guess is what I would say. But I'm going to talk about more about that. I've written it down. I'm going to write it down again. Hold on, let me write. Okay, because I never know this person's name. I don't think about this person. And it's very fascinating. Anyway, but thank you for your question. I really will talk about it shortly. Um, yeah, because several people have asked me about this, and here's the thing that is unsettling. Last year, I talked about this. I talked about this for the last 2 years about the troubles in Ireland. If you've been watching me a long time, you probably remember this. The troubles in Ireland, where the IRA was bombing people and blowing things up and hurting people because they were insurgents. They were against that government, the government that they felt was. I don't want to get in the middle of it. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just telling you, all I'm saying is the guides kept telling me that the United States would have a situation like the Troubles. I've been talking about it, I swear, for 2 years. So we're here, sleeper cells in America. It's the same thing. These the Once we get control of the government, whether you or I feel like we have it or not, but once we get to a place where there is a stalemate, the guides are saying there is a ceasefire or some kind of like timeout, those a lot of those people, the thugs, those people will start being like melting back into towns and societies, and they will become the sleeper cells. Now, they are also going to be radicalized. If Iran might not be able to hit us here, but one thing they can do is they can get online and they can talk in chat rooms to people gaming and radicalize them and turn them into a sleeper cell. How do we think we get suicide bombers? They're radicalized. How do you think these kids that became school shooters became that? Because they were radicalized. I've said for years that it's coming through the gaming chat rooms because you're on a game, you're chatting with somebody in some other country. You don't know anything about them. And then they start grooming you. And then they start, if there's a possibility there, if you're disgruntled, if you feel like you're being isolated, that nobody loves you, you can't get a date. Well, guess what? Ask any cult specialist. Those are all earmarks for a person who can be radicalized. So maybe Iran is going to start radicalizing our people. We have real problems around our freedoms. The guides have always said that our enemies would use our very freedoms against us. Our freedom to carry a weapon, our freedom of speech. Think about how those things have been used against us. So that's what I would say about that. And we're going to have to meet that where we meet it. I think that during Biden's era, he really did a pretty good job with FBI, and the FBI caught a lot of these kids before they could do so much stuff. And this is where we are. This is what we need to do. We need to meet this moment right there. And we can. It's just a matter of focusing on that. So yeah, hopefully yes, so happy. Uh-oh. Yeah, so Cindy P, how are you? Thank you for being a moderator. My nephew's in the Air Force and is fluent in Russian and Norwegian. Not sure if he's been deployed as he's already in Norway. Well, and if he was deployed, you probably wouldn't know that he was because this has been very, it's operational security OPSEC. We're not supposed to know where they are. As a matter of fact, that's a real problem. On social media, people are saying my son, my nephew, my husband is at this base, and that's bad. That typically doesn't happen. It all started with that loose lips sink ships. Remember that from 1,000,000 years ago? That's because, family members, they're not supposed to talk about where their loved ones are, and their loved ones are not supposed to tell them. So, but I'm sending prayers for your nephew, I think it was, Cindy, that he's okay, right? Let's wrap everybody in prayers, because there's a lot of confusion within the military right now. Everybody is confused. Nobody knows I mean, energetically, nobody knows what the mission is. The mission is just not even real. It's completely confused. Everybody is confused. Yes, I think he is. SEM0717 says, is Netanyahu hiding out in Hungary? The last time I saw his plane, I thought it went to Germany, but I think, surprisingly enough, I think he is in. The guides just said he was in the Baltic states, but I don't know where that is. Isn't that like Moldova, or I don't know. He could be in Hungary, but they said he was in the Baltic states. I'm not sure. Um, yeah. Oh God. Yeah, it's interesting that somebody asked Zelensky for help. Wow, with the drones, because they're so good with the drones. Like, that is they've got this down, and that's what Iran is using. Yeah, I wouldn't blame him if he didn't help us, and I honestly don't think he can help us. I mean, my God, they're fighting for their very lives right now. They don't have any extra anything, any extra. Zero. No extra money, no extra weapons, no extra time, no extra people. He's got nothing. I don't even know why somebody would think to ask him. It's just insanity where we are right now, isn't it? Let's see what else we want to talk about today. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button. Hey, you guys, I'll ask this later. We only have 1,980 people here. We've been live for 18 minutes. Guess what? I'm only 1,200 people away from hitting 100,000 subscribers. So all 1,980 of you, please subscribe, right? Wouldn't it be really cool if I got to 100,000 subscribers tonight? That'd be super awesome. I'd really love that. So, um, you know, let's do it. But hit the thumbs up, because YouTube likes that around live videos. I don't know why. Oh, hey, Ron, Unconditional Love. Thank you so much for being a moderator. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, Norway. Yeah, let's see how you're doing. Wondering how many of the kids will have in life. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not doing. Sorry, Maria. Yeah, I'm not doing. I already. They're answering your question in the chat, Maria. They're telling you to run. That's hilarious. Yeah, you're fine, Maria. You're gonna be fine. Um, yes, that is a statement that Katrina says Russia is sharing intel about our troops with Iran. Yes, that is absolutely a statement. And I'll say also that it's too obvious where our troops are. We are big. When an aircraft carrier appears, pretty obvious where we are. So you could see this from Google Earth, right? So yes, they are sharing OPSEC, unfortunately. I don't think that. Well, first of all, your trans daughter turns 18 on Saturday. I Your trans daughter is not going to be allowed to be in the draft. Number one, they've already decided that, right? So thank God. Number two, I do think they're going to talk about the draft. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to talk to you about a big thing that's happened, a big change. Something really big has happened. And that could, I think if this timeline goes forward, they're not going to be talking about no draft, because they understand the draft. Just saying the word, like it's a death knell for their power. So I do think they want to say it. I think they want it, but they also know that if they do that, it's game over. I mean, they'll lose whatever support they have through the magus. It's this is really the third rail. You can't touch it, you'll die. Um, yeah, parliamentary system, and I did say parliamentary, Mark. His question is I mentioned in a previous video, the USA could go to a parliamentary system. I don't even know what that is, but that's what the guide said. But I will say to you that we could go to a multi-party system, governing rule through a multi-party system. That's what they're saying. It could actually manifest in a little different way that isn't parliamentary, but same kind of flavor. How likely and when do I see this? Well, I think it's very likely, Mark, because we are now broken beyond repair. You cannot put the Republican Party. Well, this is what they're trying to do. Wait till you guys hear this. This is hilarious. Let me just get like three, because if I say it too early, everybody's gonna miss it, and I have to repeat myself 25 times. But um, the Republican Party is gone. You can't run the flag up the pole anymore. That's what the guides are saying. I really feel that the Democrats are also going to split apart. I think this is going to the precursor for us to have these multiple parties, like 6 parties or whatever it is, where we can have coalitions and just the whole thing. And you know what else they just told me when I was answering a question in the comments before I went live? They said we're going to rewrite the Bill of Rights. Now, I didn't have time to look up the actual definition of the Bill of Rights. I know we have the Constitution and then we have the Bill of Rights, but the guide specifically said we're going to have to rewrite the Bill of Rights. I feel like this. Well, okay, so the guides are saying we're going to try to put Humpty Dumpty back together. We're going to pick all the pieces up and haphazardly, quickly glue them together, because we can't let the world know that we are in a shambles, that we're literally a failed state. That's a very big statement to call a country a failed state. So they're going to try to put a lipstick on a pig, like we say in the South. They're going to try to make it look like we are a functioning, everything's fine, no, nothing to see here. We got rid of the bad people. They're going to try that, but it's not really going to work, because the American people are not going to go back. Kamala Harris was right. We're not going to go back. We can't go back. They burned down our country. There's no going back to that. There's nothing left. So, having said that, I feel like by 28 we could have a parliamentary situation, but also I'm not going to rule out some kind of snap election. The guides have talked about this before, and I'm not going to rule out getting rid of the electoral college. I'm not going to rule out getting ranked choice voting. I think we're going to do things kind of like a little haphazardly again, trying to piece it all back together. We'll try this. We'll get rid of the electoral college. Oh, we'll try this. We'll get rid of the filibuster. Oh, we'll try this. They're just going to like try anything they can. And then they're going to realize that none of these things are addressing the problem. And then I think we'll go into a completely different government style, because this government was able to be taken, able to be corrupted, right? It's not safe. That our government system, the checks and balances, we have the executive branch, the congressional branch, the judicial branch. Guess what? That didn't work. That didn't work. So we are not going to go back to that. Hopefully that makes sense, right? What else are we talking about here? I love that you guys are still giving her advice. Keep giving her advice. She needs to like stop looking for men and move on. Okay. Iranian TVs. Let's see. Oh boy, here we go. Shannon says, the Iranian TV is reporting that they hit the USS Lincoln, that they had casualties. Any truth? I also saw a vision not that long ago that I talked about on my videos, where I saw a boat, a ship that looked like it could have been a destroyer. I don't know, but it was a big Navy ship, and that there was a hole blown in the what is starboard? I don't even know. Is that the right side? And like, why do I care? There was a hole blown in the front of it. The guides want to say starboard. And that led to casualties and it led to deaths, but the boat did not sink. So I saw this months ago. So that could have happened. The problem is, and this is part of their defense, Iran can say whatever they want, and we are in such a completely dystopian situation that we almost have to take it under account. Like, we can't just say, "Oh, that's just Iran," because our leaders are actually so bad that these things really could happen. So I would say to you that I feel like yes, a ship was hit, but I can't tell if it's past tense, current tense, or future tense. I can't tell if it's already happened, is happening, or gonna happen. It's in this thing where it's like active. The energy is active right now. Um, so that's what I would say. I think that part of the situation is that we're going to see there's a lot more damage and a lot more casualties than the so-called government is reporting. That's gonna be part of the problem. That's gonna be part of the stripes. I'm wearing stripes because people are going to jail. That's gonna be part of that. Yeah, Sage Burner says, "You said to stock up on water, too much plastic for me. Heard you can water in mason jars." Yes, you can put them in mason jars. You can put anything you want as long as you have access to it. It doesn't leak and it doesn't evaporate too fast. But I went today and I mean, now I have like 6 gallons of water that like I tell you guys, I lived in Hurricane Alley and I don't think I ever had 6 gallons of water. So it may not, it's just a potential. Okay. So and the guides are saying it's cheap, right? Like you go out and buy, if you're just looking at water to flush your toilet, you can put water in anything, right? But you got to have a way to get it in the house, or got to have a way to get it to the toilet. Because the problem is not drinking water. That's bad enough. The problem is that they keep telling you this, that let's say this is a city. I'm warning everybody, but it could just be one city or 3 cities where their water system is completely down. It's offline. Well, you cannot live in your house without a sewer, without being able to flush waste. 3 days, you're looking at a health crisis, right? So we need water to flush our toilets. That is, we need water to drink, but we also need water to flush our toilets. That is what seems to be most concerning them. So do it however it works for you, right? Um, Yeah, I know, right? So, Baraka says, "Hey, remember when Trump said Kamala Harris would cause World War III? Everything he says turns out to be an admission of guilt, right? He's projecting." Yeah, he does think he's the ruler of the world. He really does. I mean, I think we're gonna have to like remove you, Maria. If you keep asking personal questions, even though we're asking you not to, we're going to remove you from the live. We've been very accommodating, but you continue to ask questions even though we've asked you to stop. So please stop. And if you don't stop, we'll just remove you from the live. So consider that your last warning, and moderators consider that her last warning, because I can do it as well. So anyway, let me get down here to the new comments. All right, people are starting to come on. Thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it. I know it's a little early for the West Coasters, but it's a little late for the East Coasters. So, oh my gosh, can't get to the bottom of the comments. Let me see if I can find them. I don't think I can find them. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, everything he does is a projection. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, the problem with that, so I understand we would do the same thing in Texas Gulf area, fill up your bathtub with water to flush toilets. But this could be like a month, 2 months, 3 months, so you can't really use your bathtub. But I would say that if something happens, we'll see. The problem is this, right? The guides just corrected me. I was going to say if something happens, you can start filling your tub up. But the problem is this kind of attack is going to come out of nowhere. It could be that nothing is happening anywhere. it could be July, nothing is happening anywhere, and they have, a viral attack on your utility, and that's that. So you don't have time to fill up your tub. You're not going to have any warning. That's the thing, right? So, and it's not the end of the world. It's just that, if you feel drawn to do it, do it. If you don't, that's fine. No problem. Uh, a Brooklyn girl, Linda says, is mainstream media, i.e., CNN, aware that our government isn't telling the truth about casualties? Yes, they're complicit. The guides are saying they are in on the fix. They've been compromised. They've been totally compromised. They're only going to report what's best for them or best for their handlers. All of our mainstream media is owned by 3 billionaires, right? So that's a problem. Um, oh my gosh. I do. There is energy around this. Sue Stevens. Sue Stevens says, I read the DJT attacked a cartel in Ecuador and he's trying to take over the entire Western Hemisphere. There's energy around the cartels. I don't talk about this very often because I lived in Texas and this is very serious, but I feel like the Texas government is working in cahoots with a cartel, a specific one, and allowing that cartel to move illicit drugs allegedly over the border. Okay. So you can see how a guy like Trump would also want to get on that action, right? Well, okay, I need my own cartel, right? Because that's basically the mob. He is the mob, right? He's basically like the Russian mob or whatever. So I think that this cartel thing really is a thing, and I think that is why he blows up those boats because they're the other cartel. Even if they're fishing boats, they're in the other cartel's waters. It's just it's just a tyrant. He's a tyrant using the United States military as his own personal militia. So, yes, does he want to take over the Western Hemisphere? Yes. The way the guide showed it to me is you have China, you have Putin, you have Netanyahu, you have whatever Saudi prince, and you have Donald Trump, and they all want to carve the world up. Like they really feel like they can just start grabbing, like Donald wants to grab Canada. Like he just feels like, well, I'll get these and you get those, and then it'll just be us five, you know, despots running the whole planet. That's what they think. That they truly think that. And if let's just say there's a premier or there's a president, but they really answer to me. It's just a fake, shell of a country. I'm controlling them. So yes, he does think that. That is what he really wants to do. He's not going to get that. Yeah, that's a really good quote, Raymond. Hell is empty and all the devils are in here. That is the truth for sure. Um, I Newsom for president. I think that things are going to change so dramatically, not only between now and 2028, but between now and next year, or even the end of this year, that I don't think any of the usual suspects are a shoe in. I don't think so. I think that things are going to change radically, and we may be. This is the message the guides keep giving us: is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Maybe Newsom maybe he's okay. Maybe he's not great, but he's okay. Um, but we're going to throw him out because we can't discern. We can't discern the finer details. We're just going to start throwing everything out. So I can't tell you he is very nimble about maneuvering through things, but he's bet on the wrong things. I don't know. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Honestly, the guy, and it surprises me, not because I don't like him, but just because he's not nearly as well known as Newsom. But the guy that's gaining energy with the spirit guides is Bashir from Kentucky, the governor of Kentucky. Um, so he's sort of like, this is also why I think Kamala got out of the limelight, because you're going to get blamed, right? Even if you're saying I agree with you, just the fact that you're in this circus means we don't like you. So these people that are out of the limelight are going to be able to come in, like Liz Cheney. Like, she's going to be able to come in and be like, wow, what happened in here? I've been gone and I didn't know. So she's not tainted. It's guilty by association, right? So I think that Bashir has got a lot of energy. It's interesting to me that he's going up. It is in an aircraft carrier. Okay, I think that's what I originally saw. You'll have to look at that video. I think I originally saw a aircraft carrier, but it's not it doesn't sink, but it is limping back into some sort of port, and it has a big hole towards the front, and the guides are saying on the starboard side. Yes, hackers can take down utility systems. This is what I'm saying. Like, if you want to attack the United States, the best thing to do is to shut our cell phone service off, shut our internet off. We can't go to the bank. We can't check out at the grocery store because everything works on the internet. Shut off our utilities so we can't go to the bathroom. So, somebody said dig a pit latrine. Well, I can just imagine how we're all going to like that, right? We're all going to love everybody's rear ends, in broad daylight out in the backyard, right? It's not, this is not tenable. They will shut cities down. Like, they'll make you leave as a person who's been through so many hurricanes. The cops show up and they make you leave. I mean, I'm not joking with you. Like, if you had a fire, they're banging on your door, they're saying there's a wildfire, you got to get out, right? I had a friend who refused to leave, and and the cop, his wife left because, of course, but the cops surrounded his house. And then and there was a standoff, and he's a Texan. He's like, I'm on my property and you can't. It was not pretty. I think it took him 2 days for them to get him to leave. So, but the energy is there that this is going to be a huge problem. This is how you do it. It's not you don't have to bomb us with nothing. Just do those things, and it'll do it for us. Right now I don't see John Ossoff for president. He doesn't have enough energy backers. I don't know why, but that's just what I get. Um I know, right? No cell phones, teenagers will self-destruct. But really and truly, right, for those of us that grew up without them, right, we know how to handle that. But the other day, and this is how the guides showed it to me, and I don't know why this happened, but the other night, I wanted to see what time it was, and I don't have a clock. I have my cell phone, and it's at night. It's 1 a.m. But I just know it's in the middle of the night, and I go get my cell phone, and it's dead. It's a brick. It was charged. It was just a brick. And I kind of thought for a minute, I can't even know what time it is. Like, luckily, I have one clock in the whole house. So I got up and went in the kitchen and looked at the microwave. But I mean, you think about how this is my clock. Forget all the other things that it does, right? This is a big deal. This would really bring us to our knees. And that's going to help us because we're going to strengthen our national security around those types of things. So that'll be very helpful as well. Yeah, they do make you evacuate from your house. Um, Boy, would Houston be a target? Well, yeah, I think Houston is a target because it is the fourth largest city, but it's also where all the oil refineries are, right? The vast majority of oil gets refined right there in Beaumont and Channelview, all those cities, Baytown, all those cities that are what 30 minutes, 45 minutes from Houston. And they definitely want to go for democratic cities, but when I'm talking about Iran, I mean, they'll go for DC. You know what I mean? Like the Republicans are the ones who go after the Democratic cities, but Iran is going to be like, yeah, let's do DC, let's do Mar-a-Lago, let's do Florida. So it's going to be interesting, right? That cities that typically haven't had any problems might start having problems. So that would be one reason why where the message came from. That's how you would know that. Um, I don't think, yeah, I don't think it's going to come to the draft. I think they're going to talk about it, but I don't think so. Um, we can't even go back to the landlines. I mean, we can't. It's like you can't get them installed. We are going to go to some other things. There's maybe somebody in the chat. There's a way with Bluetooth, which doesn't require internet, to daisy chain connections. So it kind of looks, I think it's called enmeshing or enmeshtastic or something. But like I have my Bluetooth, and let's say that enough of us in the community sign on. We all sign on to this app. And then it's like party line calling in the 1900s, the guides are saying. So my little phone goes to the phone a mile away, connects, and then gets transferred to the next phone. So if there's enough Bluetooth people that allow you to make a connection, you can actually route your call, your text through all those people to the person you're intending, all through Bluetooth. This is new. It's not really been used a lot yet, but I promise you it's about to be used. It's going to be used through natural disasters. It's going to be used. It's going to be a big deal. And I think you can only do text. I'm not sure that you can do a phone call, but it is a way to communicate without cell service. And it is happening. Truly, it is happening. So yeah, I'm glad some people still have landlines, but I have to say, not many. Oh, Kevin Lewis is here. Hey, Kevin. Uh, we are going to be doing another reading together in a few weeks on my channel. We get together and read personal. So that's really, really nice. Personal and psychic mediumship. Check out him. He's awesome. Yeah, I didn't read your whole question here, but democracy meow. Oh, I love that. Democracy meow. That's great. And look at your avatar. It's not like the masses of people who need deprogram will listen to you. Churches need to step to fix him because this will let it happen, as churches weren't crappy enough before the QAnon cult. The guides talked about this. Remember a couple of years ago, they talked about how there would be deprogramming centers funded by the government, um, because these people are really going to need professional help. So this is a possibility that there could actually be that. Um, yes, I'm sure that NYC area will be targeted. I'm sure that it will be because it's an iconic city, right? Like so, it might be targeted like this. It might be that all those big screens on Times Square all get played with Epstein videos, right? I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't see them having the wherewithal, the ability to do something violent to a city. I think it's about hacking. It's so easy. They can sit in their boxer shorts in their apartment in Tehran and hack us. So when I say attacks, this is what I mean. They're going to hack us. They're going to stop our water or stop our electricity or open a dam, possibly something like that. Again, this is all food for us to learn from. This is all lessons that we got to harden these things. Hospitals get hacked all the time. All the time they get hacked. So this is no different. This is just, instead of for money, it's going to be because of this WAR that is happening. Yeah, we need electricity to charge our phones. I'm going to say this because the guides are mentioning this too. We forget about this, but if you have a car, go out and listen to the radio in your car for news. So let's say everything goes black, like you have nothing. You don't have any electricity, you don't have any cell phone service. Your radio in your car is still going to work, and you can listen to the local radio station. This is what we did during hurricanes. We would all sit in our cars charging our phones and listening to the local radio station. because all the local radio stations are going, even if they're not local, they're still going to be talking about, if it's happening in Houston, it's happening in LA, wherever it's at, they're going to be talking about that, right? So that is an option. I want you guys to not forget about it. There's an option there. Let's see. I'm glad you guys still have your landlines. That's great. So many people don't. Yeah, if you have a hot tub, you do have water for the toilets. That's also a really good point. Um, let's see. A Brooklyn girl, Linda says again, will Iran release unredacted EPS files against the orange felon? I mean, right now, Europe is doing it. Europe has finally decided they're not going to carry water. The guides just told me carry water for this guy anymore. They're actually their media is actually talking more and more about this. They are literally talking about him being in the files. So yes, I do think Iran will do it, but I also think other countries will do it as well. I mean, everybody's going to do it. No one is letting him hide anymore. So Mestastic is the name of the thing where you can hook up your Bluetooth. Like I have a Bluetooth, and then you turn on your Bluetooth. And I think there's going to be apps that make it so that you can connect, right? But it is coming. This way of connecting without cell phone service is almost here. I mean, it is here, but I don't know that it's as robust as we need it to be. Yeah, Silver Woods. I didn't have power for 30 days without a hurricane. It is a real eye opener. I'll say that. Canadians, okay, I have to say that I did see Canada for some reason recently. Um, I don't know why. I couldn't exactly figure it out, but I did get Canada on my radar. Um, I think that your country is so big, and there's a lot of it that's not inhabited, and a lot of the part that is inhabited seems to be along the border of the United States, right? Until you go up on the coast. And I feel like there could be some kind of hacking. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. Except for that, here's the thing, right? So the guides have always said there's going to be double crossing, triple crossing, quadruple crossing, right? There's no straight line here. Like it's bizarre that Russia is helping Iran against their good buddy Trump, right? So there's no honor among thieves. So I feel like how Canadians could experience some sort of hacked situation might be through there's chaos happening in the United States, like, oh, this city and then that city. People that have nefarious purposes will do like a false flag in Canada just to make Canadians unsafe, because then that helps the conservatives. That's what they use to convert people, is you're not safe. So then I just feel like there could be a conservative group who does it instead of Iran, and then they say, see, we're not safe and you need to vote for us to have more defense. You see what I'm saying? But it's, to me, it's not anything like what happens here, but there could be something that happens on Canadian soil. The guides are also showing me that you had that shooting recently that's very, very unusual, right? So there does seem to be some energy working in your country. Again, I don't see it being anything like what's going to happen down here, but there is more energy there that I would just keep an eye on. And like I said in my video yesterday, the best thing for all of us to do is use our own intuition, right? That's the best thing. The best thing is just to listen to your intuition. I don't really feel like I want to go to that event, or, and I feel good about it. I don't, when I look into it, I don't have any warnings. Pay attention to your own intuition. I have a whole nother YouTube channel, Susan Lynn, Spiritual Way Shower, with so many videos on how to tap into your tuition. It's all free. Watch those videos. Learn how to communicate to your spirit guides. Learn how to understand signs that you're getting, because this is when we need them. We don't want to be in fear. Fear disconnects us from our intuition. We want to be connected to our intuition. We don't want them to separate us from our superpower, because that's really what they want to do. Hopefully that helped you out. Yes. Bear's mom says, "Is Noam's new job a real one or made up of fairy dust?" No, she's made up of, I can't say the words on YouTube, but it's not fairy dust, okay? It's not fairy dust. Her job is a made up job to keep her, and this is what the guides always said too, right? Like, I didn't see a lot of people getting fired and being removed because you don't get fired from the mob. You're not ever going to leave the mob. You know too much. You would be a really good asset for an investigator or the police or somebody like that. So you always have to be in the mob. You might get demoted, you know, you might get demoted to something, but you ain't leaving. So that's what they did to her. They demoted her. They put her on ice. They put her in a, like, separated her, and where they can watch her, where they can keep tabs on her. She's never going to be free. She's always going to have an ankle monitor, the guides just said, connected to her, whoever those people are that are pulling the strings. um let me just say now what I was going to say in the very beginning of this thing, because and I don't think you guys have talked about it. um I, as I said, thank you all for just now joining. Thank you so much. Also, please subscribe, because I'm only 1,255 subscribers away from getting to 100,000, which I would love. Woo! And there's 3,400 in here. So if 1,200 of you haven't subscribed, do me a big favor and hit the subscribe button. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Your guides will show you all guidance in interesting ways. And so for me, I took a half a day off. I went and got a massage. I'm doing my self-care. I'm not paying attention to the news. I sat down 15 minutes before this live, and I thought I better look and make sure that he's still alive, because I could be missing an opportunity to celebrate. But anyway, so I looked at the news and I saw this news item. Now, we're going to talk about it because it's very, very important. According to this post, CNN reported that Condoleezza Rice was seen entering the White House. Now, we know that that CNN is bunk, right? It's bought off. It's not to be trusted. But I went to my spirit guides because I'm like, this has got energy. This has got real energy, like really, really, really energy. So I know what exactly. I know Condoleezza Rice, you guys, and I didn't pay that much attention to her. I was so PO'd by that whole thing that I just didn't pay any attention. So I don't even know what all that woman did. I just know that it was bad. So I'm over here going, okay, Condoleezza Rice, is she really in the White House? And I get yes. Now, even if CNN gets proven wrong, I'm telling you, energetically, psychically, y'all, they have called in Condoleezza Rice. Now, I know, right? So I don't remember her exact role, but when I go into her energy, do you know who who they're calling in, like, energetically? Is Dick Cheney. And I know she was all up in Dick Cheney's, business. I know they were running buddies, and I know he's dead, but I'm telling you, they're going to Dick Cheney somebody. They decided this is huge. This is why I waited now to tell you guys, because I wanted the majority of people to be here, right? This is a huge thing, because this means that they this is it. This is their last chance to save the Republican Party. This is what they're thinking. They're actually thinking this is the last chance to save the US of A. This this is huge. And when I go into this energy, DJT is not the person who called her, because he doesn't call anybody. People call him and give him money. You're right. He doesn't call people looking for help. So I think that the guides just said the call came from inside the house, and they called her and said, "We need help. You need to come in here. We need to turn this around. We have to figure out a way to save this." Because I do believe that there are way more casualties than anybody knows. I do believe that these countries where these bases are covering it up on top of the aircraft carrier that I think got struck. Um, who is Condi Rice? Y'all say she was Secretary of State in GW, I believe. Wasn't it GW? It's insane, you guys. It's like is you guys, it's like you think it can't get any worse. You're like, well, this is it. This is it. It can't get any worse. Yeah, no, she's smart. Condoleezza's right, is smart. It's definitely Susie Wiles. Yes, it's Susie Wiles who made the call. Listen, I, Condoleezza Rice is smart. I just don't agree with her politics. And yeah, here I'm going to say something crazy that I never thought I would say. She's nothing as bad as these people, right? She's nothing as bad. They're showing me Rubio. She's nothing like a Rubio. She's nothing like a Hegseth. She's not warm and cuddly, she's not that. She's definitely a very conservative Republican, but she's not treasonous. She's not. That whoever thought that I would say those words out loud? I can't believe that we've gotten so bad that Condoleezza Rice looks like a freaking saint compared to them. So this means that things are so bad that this weekend is going to be one of those things where the pizza scale goes off the Richter, in DC, when they have that website that tracks how many pizzas get ordered, because that means that whoever they are in those offices, they're there all night. Like, nobody's going for dinner. We need 300 pizzas to be delivered. This is one of those weekends because they have to try to rewrite what's happened. And there's no rewriting it. I believe that those bases were attacked. I do believe there is at least one base that is flattened, that there's nothing there. I do believe that. And I do believe that, how do you explain that to the American people? Because we're already PO'd. Even the Republicans are PO'd, and now the MAGAs are PO'd. They never wanted a war. The MAGAs never wanted a war. Trump ran on, I will never take us to war. Their fault, they believed him. But this is a really big deal, you guys. This is a big deal. So I feel like this probably means that they are getting ready to foist, the word the guides used is foist him out. Yes. Get rid of him. So then you have somebody like Condoleezza Rice who really and truly, like, she's their version of our, Pete Buttigieg or Barack Obama, somebody who understands the mechanisms of government down to the minutia, that can literally put it all back together. If you needed somebody to come in and put this whole government back together, you would need somebody like Condoleezza Rice. She's the one that could do it on the Republican side. And what they're going to try to do, I said earlier before you guys joined me, I said it's Humpty Dumpty's fallen off the wall, and they're going to just start gluing pieces together haphazardly, and they're going to try to tell us that it's fixed. That is what Condoleezza Rice is there to help them do. She might actually take a public role in this administration. Now, I think that would actually have to be after 45 is gone. And I said in the very beginning of this video, I'm wearing stripes because the guides told me, when I was getting ready, they said, wear stripes because people are going to prison. So this is my celebratory. This is really, yes, you're right. Condoleezza is a Hail Mary play. That is exactly describing it perfectly. I don't think it's going to work, you guys. Look, Condoleezza Rice might be brilliant, but and they said, and she's a strategist, but it's too far gone. Like I said earlier in this live, we can't put it back together. We're going to have to just recreate it from scratch. We're going to rewrite the Bill of Rights. We're going to We're going to get rid of our electoral college. We're going to get rid of the filibuster. We're going to get rid of so many things because it's completely broken. You can't put it back together. But I think what Condoleezza Rice is going to do is she's going to try to keep people out of prison. She's going to try to rewrite history. This is the second time they've said that. She's going to try to help them put it back together so that when they explain it to us, it looks like hell, but nothing like in reality how much it's so much worse. It's going to look bad, but it's not going to look as bad as it really is. But I think that is super fascinating. Conestoga Rice. I just wanted to call her Condi. Who didn't somebody call her Condi, or there was a term of endearment that maybe Cheney used or something. Um, so then so here's the thing I want you guys to understand too. If Condoleezza Rice is in the White House, you can't, there's not enough room egotistically for DJT and Condoleezza Rice. That these two things cannot be in the same building. They cannot, because he would be afraid of her. She's a black woman. I don't care how Republican she is, you know, not going to happen. So Bush called her that. I knew somebody called her Condi. Okay. Bush Jr. Right. So you guys, if they're bringing in Condoleezza Rice, that means he is going out. And that's the best news I've had for you, right? Now, is this going to happen this weekend? I don't know. Is it going to happen this she's been on MS Now lately. Condoleezza Rice has been public. Fascinating. Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, let me tell you, this is a big deal. He can make a deal, right? Trump can make a deal with them and say, because I'm just looking at the energy. So he has this money, because he's been selling our secrets. He's been selling everything, literally everything. They probably don't even got silverware. He doesn't use silverware. He just gets a burger and a wrapper and eats it. He probably done sold the silverware out the drawers, right? So he's got money and they don't. So he's going to say, well, I've got these contacts and this money. You're going to have to make me a deal for me to go. You're going to have to make it so that I'm safe, or give me safe passage, is what the guides just said. So then you have a situation where Vance comes in. And you know what? When I just went into Vance's energy, holy crap, y'all. Vance detests her. I'm saying he doesn't disrespect her. He detests her. He detests her. So he's going to have this look on his face. He's got this sour look that he gets sometimes. He is not a good actor. So he's going to look sour around her. And I mean, look, she's doing this not for Vance. She's doing this for her country, because whatever you can say about her energetically, she feels that she's a patriot. She's a lot like Liz Cheney. They feel like they're patriots. They feel like they're rah, jingoistic, American apple pie, whatever. Their version of America is racist and sexist and all the things, but they still think that's possible. We can get back there. So Condoleezza is going to be like, look, sir, I'm here to do a job. Get out of my way and I'll save your butt. But don't make me mad. So she's there, but it's, on tenterhooks, apparently. Yeah, the robber barons. The problem is the robber barons they don't have, I just want to say that they don't have the power, but I also want to say they don't have the willpower. They don't, halfway they don't care enough, and then halfway they don't really have the power to make these changes. Miller isn't a robber baron. He's a Nazi guy, and he's not going to care what the robber barons want. So he's not going to make a deal with them. And Trump is making deals with other countries who've got even more money. So you know, the robber barons really don't have a lot of power here. So it's interesting to me that now you have the Republican Party sort of the old guard showing up to say, look, I really does feel like this is it. This is the 12th hour, not the 11th hour. This is the 12th hour. We have a week to turn this around. I'm here to help you. But if you don't want it, it's going down the drain. Now, what they mean by going down the drain is they're going to lose to the liberals. They're going to lose. The Republican Party is going to literally burn up and disappear. It's going to ashes are going to blow away in the wind. So they're trying to save their own power. They're anything they can save, they're trying to save. Because let me tell you, on Monday, because I swear, what day is Monday? Why they keep talking about Monday? Wonder what's going on astrologically. When I look at this calendar, I'm drawn to the 13th. That is next Friday. How interesting. Next week, we're going to start hearing the truth about what's happened with these casualties, with our bases, with our very expensive communications, whatever they are, technic equipment, um, all of this expensive things. We've already lost 3 fighter jets that were shot down with friendly fire. How does that make any sense? Add to that the 2 jets that went off the ship. Remember that? We're like down 5 fighter jets. I think we have less than 100, So uh they can't explain all these things. So they've got like a week to figure this out before it hits the airwaves, before it's publicized. And I'm not even sure that it's going to be a week. I think it's going to start this weekend and Monday. Maybe it'll go to a culmination on next Friday. She is a warmonger, but this she can't win this war. She's smart enough to know we're not going to win this war. We're going to lose this war. And not only we're going to lose this war, we're going to lose our own respect. We're going to lose our standing in the world. She's a warmonger when it looks like maybe she'll win. She's not going to win this. We're not going to win this. We've already lost it, actually. We've already lost it. Yeah, Malcolm Nance is a good one to follow. He has a lot. He was a intelligence officer in the military. He says he reported that the Iranians used a $20,000 missile to destroy a U.S. weapon worth billions. Bingo. This is what I'm saying. And then guess what? They're sitting in their boxers on their computer hacking us. This is not a war we're going to win. Actually, this is the whole world is going to be at the mercy of this country, frankly. And they don't want that. So the whole world is going to turn against the United States to get us to get out of there so they can try to patch it up. I don't think they will, though. I hear what you're saying, but energetically, she wants regime change. She would love to have regime change. She would love to have a new world order in the Middle East, but the way they're going about it is going to lose. And they're going to lose any chance of ever having that. And she's there to help them figure that out. And they're not going to listen to her. I'm telling you guys, the fact that she was able to even walk in the White House means the DJT has got to be on his way out. He's not going to listen to her. He's not. He's not going to listen to her. So something is happening in the power structure within that White House situation. Yeah, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say that there's 1,000 casualties, but I could say that there's several hundred, and maybe there is 1,000, right? Maybe it's just I don't want to see that. But I think there really could be several hundred. And people say, well, how come we don't, where's the bodies? There are no bodies, y'all. If you saw the picture, it's flat. There's nothing there. There's no bodies. That's why they can cover it up, at least for weeks, because of operational security, OPSEC, soldiers can't call in and check in with their families. So if you don't hear from your soldier for 3 weeks or a month, that's normal. Okay. We're not the same country that we were at all, unfortunately. Yeah, and Mercury retrograde is in full effect, and they started this thing in the middle or in the beginning of Mercury retrograde, which was not the right time. So they don't have a lot of energy on their side. Yeah, okay. I am Istro, and hey, good to see you. Thank you for being a moderator. So the word on the street is that she was there to meet a group of college to discuss college sports. Condoleezza Rice. Okay, I love it. I love it. I'm telling you, they're getting rid of Trump. They're trying to get rid of him. They're trying to get rid of him. Um, she could, when you go in there, you don't come out clean. You don't come out without some of that stuff on you. It's not a place you can't go in there and come out the same person. So I think she is going to be compromised. But I don't think she cares. Like she doesn't she's not running for office. You know what I mean? She doesn't care. She has her own they have their own version of Project 2025. They have their own ideas about how the world should be. And that's why she's doing these things, right? I'm not saying that she's for Iran or against Iran. I'm saying she's against how this is happening because Iran is winning. Iran is winning against us. This country, one country, is taking down huge bases in the Middle East. It's nobody ever thought this would happen. Nobody. So here we are, right? Consequences have actions too. So, yeah, so I think that's interesting. That is a really big thing. Who called her to come? I think it was I can't think of her name. Susie, could be Susie Wiles. Somebody wants, and I see there's a potential. It's not 100%, but there's a potential that she could be working in the White House, that she could be in the cabinet. And I'm telling you, JD does not want that. Actually, nobody wants it. Rubio doesn't want it. JD doesn't want it. Hegseth doesn't want it. Kennedy, nobody wants it. Nobody wants her there because she's smart for one thing, and she doesn't suffer fools. So nobody wants her there, but there she is. So we'll see how that happens. Oh, I'm sure she wanted Trump to win. I get it, Angela. I get it. It's just energetically, this is a coup. They're taking him out. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, she is older. It's this is, you got to think of it like this too. You guys are applying. I'm not using rational thinking because my spirit guides are telling me what's happening, right? So maybe if you can compare it to rational thinking, but if you think about it like 45, look at his cabinet. Is anybody there educated? Is anybody there smart? No, he doesn't bring in people that challenge him. He would never, ever bring in Condoleezza Rice. Never. And I don't think he would ever bring in a black woman. So this is not something he wants. I promise you, it's not something he wants. I don't think it's anything any of them want. I think they're trying to save their butts. And because they represent the Republican Party, she's agreed to help them save their butts. And she cannot let us lose to Iran. She cannot let us lose to Iran. And we are going to lose to Iran. Not only are we going to lose to them, a whole lot of people are going to lose to them. Because if they get it's almost like when a kid just gets too wound up and then they get more wound up. This is how I see Iran. A little bit of success is going to make them more wound up and then more wound up and then more wound up, and then they're going to start doing crazy things. Like they're going to start hitting other countries that don't have anything to do with anything, just because they can, just because they've just that they're out of control. The guides are saying they're just out of control. So I don't know, you guys. I think this is very, very interesting. I think this is why I'm wearing stripes, because they're going to go to prison. This is what my guides told me. Wear the stripes. This is it. Now, it doesn't mean today, tomorrow. It doesn't even mean in the next 6 months, but it means that the energy is moving. Now, Trump is going to be gone, but I mean, I don't see them going to prison in the next 6 months. But there will be tribunals and there will be jail time, and we'll see how this plays out, right? You said he has spoken about Cuba. Yeah, I don't, it's so weird to me about Cuba, because I don't think about Cuba. I've never really thought about Cuba. But for some reason I feel so sad about Cuba. I feel so, the same way I feel about Gaza and Ukraine and Minneapolis. I just feel terrible. I feel absolutely sad about Cuba. It's a humanitarian crisis that they are doing. It's a regime change through humanitarian crisis. It's terrible. It's really, really terrible. So pray for them, because that's really all we have at this point, right at the moment. Um, Yeah, she could be teaching them lessons about Iraq and Afghanistan, but they're not. Does anybody teach Trump lessons? See, you see what I'm saying? Who goes to Trump and says, "Hey, dude, this is what you need to do"? Nobody. Nobody does that. Who does that to JD? Maybe they're talking to JD, not Trump. They're bypassing Trump. They're going to get rid of him, hopefully soon. Um, Yeah, Rubio has a vendetta against Cuba, and because he's Cuban and because, it Communist Party, the whole thing, right? But there's multiple reasons. One is that Trump wants Cuba's beautiful. The beaches are beautiful, the water is beautiful. It's so close to the United States. It would be like worth so much money. So these are the reasons why they want Cuba. And I think Rubio wants it for the money too. Because if you know about his uncle, isn't it his uncle who was the drug dealer who went to prison, and now he's actually appointed his uncle in some capacity? I mean, these people are criminals. They're criminals themselves. Well, that's the $1 million question. If Condi is smart, why would she even go near this time bomb? Because this is why. I said this, but she does not want to see the United States of America end up in a dustbin, end up in a failed state. Look up the words failed state. It's not pretty. And we're not even talking about a banana republic. We're talking about a failed state. And she's such a patriotic in her own very bizarre way. Like I've already said, it's twisted. She doesn't, she believes in all the things that we don't believe in. She believes in racism and all these things. She believes in classism. She believes in all that. She believes in the trickle down theory. She believes that Republicans are better than everybody. But she also believes, and so does Cheney, Dick Cheney, wherever he's at, and also Liz Cheney. They believe. And that dude, what is his name? It doesn't matter. The guy that was in the guy that got ran out along with Liz Cheney, they believe in the United States of America. They don't want us to fail. They don't want us to lose to Iran. That's why. They're like, no, we're not going to allow this. This is enough. It's like the parents show up and say to the kids, this is enough. We've had enough. You've wrecked the house. We're going to have to fix it. We're sending you to your room and we're going to take over. That's what they're trying to do. That is what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're going to be successful. I don't think they're going to be successful, but that's what they're going to try to do. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'm Susan Lynn. It's Friday Night Live. I'm a psychic medium. Please hit the subscribe button. I bet you guys there's 4,200 of us, almost 4,300 of us. Those of you who haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You can hit me over the 100,000 subscribers. That would be really, really cool. So I appreciate it. And guess what? It's free. So yeah, what else do we want to talk about? Will the dollar survive? That is such a good question. It actually really is a good question. And that's a scary thing that it's a good question. Yeah, yes, it will survive, they're saying. But it's not. What they're trying to do is make it not the world's currency. They're trying, like everything gets pegged to the dollar. They're trying to make it not pegged to the dollar. And this is even the people in the White House. They would like it to be crypto and just pegged to a Ponzi scheme. You know what I mean? So I think that the dollar is going to be devalued. It's going to be deflated. I don't know that it's going to be replaced as the world currency, as the leading currency, but it's going to get close, you guys. It's going to get close. And that means that we're going to pay more money for things. Our interest rates are going to be higher. It's going to be just more expensive because our dollar is not going to be worth that much. But I think it will survive. Although the guides are mentioning to me, this is really an important point too, and I even took a picture of it. At one of the grocery stores last week, there was a big, huge sign over the self-checkout scanner that said, if you're paying cash, we don't have pennies. And it literally said, because the government is not printing penny, like it's not us, y'all. Don't yell at us. It actually said the government is not printing pennies. Well, this is a real problem, right? Like, so I think they're really trying to move us away from cash, and that, be that as it may, whatever, our constitution that they don't follow says legal tender is legal tender and you have to accept it, right? So they can't just stop printing money, but they are. They just keep breaking laws. They keep throwing the constitution out the window, and it's destabilizing us. So the dollar is definitely on life support, the guys just said. Liz Cheney, hey Karen, Liz Cheney is not more vocal because I said earlier, they want to be outside of, they don't want to be associated with anything right now, because we're going to throw everybody that was associated with it out. And I tell you guys, it's a little concerning, but I think we're going to throw some Democrats out that we shouldn't throw out, but just because guilty by association. So Liz Cheney's not going to be, even Kamala Harris said, I'm going to get outside of the system. The system is broken. So Kamala Harris is not involved in it, because if you try to fix it from the inside, you're automatically tainted. You're tainted by the whole process. Even if you're a Democrat in doing some of the good things, you could be tainted and thrown out. Because I keep explaining this, and I don't guess I'm not doing a good job, but it's like when you have a flood and you probably could clean all your clothes. You could probably, clean the carpets or whatever, but you just throw it out because it's so nasty. I've been there. I threw out so much, I threw out truckloads of stuff because it was just so nasty. And I thought, I can't deal with this. Now, I had friends that spent, swear to God, months cleaning things, and they were able to save a lot of things. But we don't have the brain power. We don't have the energy to sort through who was good and who was bad. We're just going to throw it all out and start over. So this is why Liz Cheney's not in the middle of it, because she doesn't want to be thrown out. She wants to be clear. This is why MTG is staying out of it to a degree, a little bit, because she wants to be clear. She doesn't want to be thrown out like Boebert's going to get thrown out. MTG is going to stroll back in and say, wow, what happened here? Did a tornado hit? This place is a wreck. I bet I could help you. She's going to rebrand. This is what the guides have said. All the people who are not in the middle of it, they're going to come back in and rebrand and pretend like they're good people. It's going to blow your minds when it happens. Even like McCarthy might come back and say, "Yeah, y'all threw me out, but those were criminals. But I'm really a good person." It really is dystopian. And yes, Adam Kinzinger is who I was talking about. Thank you for saying that. This is the energy, right? This is the energy that I'm reading right now. Oh boy, you don't even want me to talk about that, do you? All right. I'm just going to say this. This was a big deal. Jasmine losing the Senate was a really big deal. And I'll tell you why. Because she really was the energy, the person that was holding these people accountable. She was literally in their face. She wasn't over there being quiet. She was a fighter. So we lost that fighter. This is a big deal. We lost her. Now, her district was redistricted. They took her district and screwed it all up. And that's why she had to move districts. Also, Al Green, if you don't know who that is, he's an amazing congressperson. And they redistricted him too. So now two amazing Democrats are running against each other. Okay. So they're gutting Texas right now. They're gutting it. Okay. So that's why she had to run. Why did she lose? Because two things. First of all, if I said the word Tallarico, I got 50 or 75 trolls in my comments immediately. I was shut down immediately. You got to know something's wrong. Okay. I mean, I could say Jasmine, I don't get 25, 30 trolls. I say Tallarico, I get 100 trolls. So obviously there was a group working to help him, whether he approved of it or not, I don't care. That means the Republicans wanted him to win. We also know that they accused Jasmine of taking AIPAC money, which is Israeli money, over and over again. Everybody accused her of it. She never did it. Tallarico did do it, but she's the one that got accused. Okay, so regardless of what you think about Tallarico, I'm not going to say nothing about that. I'm going to tell you that the Republicans decided they wanted to run against Tallarico. They didn't want to run against Jasmine Crockett, so they gave him money and they sicked the trolls on anybody who said anything else. And then they closed down her own district in Dallas for voting. They took it to the courts. The courts ruled against her. They closed the voting polls. Okay. Why did she lose? Because they didn't want her to win, because they did everything they could to keep her from winning. Now, in Texas, there's a really big conversation right now that is not nice. And it's a lot of recrimination about, and it's dividing the Latino communities and the Black communities. And that's bad. Guess what? Republicans want that too. They don't want those powerhouses coming together in Texas. Those are huge powerhouses in Texas. So you have a perfect storm where Tallarico wins and then they defeat him. They're going to chew him up. That's what the guide said. They're going to chew him up. If he wins, which I don't think he will, but if he does, they will compromise him because he's already taken AIPAC money. They're going to compromise. They're going to say, if this is what they do. Look, if you want to get anything done, you're going to need money. Let us give you some money. There won't be any strings attached. And then once you take the money, it looks bad and you have to do what they say. That's just my take on it. I know people feel really strongly about this, so we probably shouldn't have any more of a conversation about this. It's done. She's out, just like Kamala Harris was out, and Black people are, he didn't take, see, here we go. He didn't take the money. Okay, fine. I'm not gonna argue with you guys. I'm telling you, the Talarico people are for real, y'all. They're for real. So I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you right now what we're gonna do. We're not gonna talk about it. And in November, we'll talk about it again because I'm gonna tell you that my spirit guides told me from the very beginning. I called my friends in Texas. They were Talarico supporters. I told them what I thought. They don't agree with me. You don't agree with me. Fine. Disagree with me. I don't care. That's fine. That's just what I get, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I'll tell you one thing for sure is that in Texas, black people are not going to vote. Okay? They're not. They've been disrespected. They've been attacked and they've been disrespected. And guess what? They don't owe the Democratic Party nothing. So guess what? That's going to really put us at a big disadvantage. Okay? So regardless of whatever Talarico did, the whole thing could have been handled better because right after he won, he started telling black people they needed to get in line behind him. And frankly, that pissed them off. And if you don't believe me, go ask a black person. Okay. Yep. So let's just move on. Let's move on from that because it is really ugly. And it's the reason why we are controlled as a party. The Republicans can get in there and pit us against each other. And this is what they did with Cambridge Analytica. This is what they did with QAnon and Pizzagate and so many things with Hillary. This is what they did with Hillary, saying that Hillary was all these things when she really wasn't all these things. But guess what? Everybody believed it. So it's still working. It's still working. So, unfortunately, Jasmine was a really important part of our future, and now she's not. And just like Kamala Harris, and now we have to do the work that we have to do it some other way. Um, and it's not going to get done. I mean, the problem is it's just not going to get done. Texas may be set back quite a ways. It also proves how it's a win for this kind of, what the guides are calling it, swift boating. Remember swift boat? This is what happened. They swift boated the situation. So anyway, let's move on because it this people are still disagreement about it. So um we just have to now go forward and hope that something good happens. um Look, you guys, even if we take that money out, okay, I know people that worked on her campaign. I know people who worked on her campaign, and they tell me she did not take it. But even if we take that out, even if we take it out, we have a person who was in Congress who was constantly showing up and giving it to these people. That is a different type of person than a seminary student who's praying for them. We are in a place where this isn't going to work. Okay. Even if he's a Jimmy Carter, even if he's amazing, we can't have that right now. We've got to have fighters. We've got to have fighters. This is our problem. We all keep saying, why aren't people fighting? Why aren't people fighting? Well, we got a fighter and then we allowed her to be railroaded out. And this is going to happen. You know who else they keep talking about when they talk about Jasmine? Sheldon Whitehouse. Remember him? He was freaking amazing. They railroaded him out too. They're going to continue doing this. They figured out how it works. They figured out they can coerce us. They figured out they can still pit us against each other. And they're going to do this across the whole damn country if we don't wake up to it. Why do we have a Fetterman? Why do we have a cinema? How did it happen? We've got to catch on faster, using our own intuition, using our own, clairsentience, our feelings, whatever it is. We've got to get out of these preconceived biases about people and things and literally go with our gut. Sheldon is awesome. I cannot believe he's not in. I mean, what a guy. What a true awesome human that guy was. What a loss, right? This is, luckily we are picking up Democrats, but the new Democrats that we pick up, they try to coerce them, they try to give them money, they try to, it's so we've got to catch on to these things. We just have to. Yeah. Yeah, he was a real anyway, whenever they talk about Jasmine, they talk about him. Like these two people were truly really important people in our Congress that was making a difference, and now we don't have them, and that's going to be felt. That's a loss that's going to be felt. So, and hopefully he'll come back around. And Sheldon, so who was it that got, it's not Sheldon. Who was it that got outed? Another guy that reminds me of Sheldon Whitehouse. His name is he got beat. Talking about, who am I talking about? Anyway, there's a guy that got beat that was super super good. Um, God, he had a boyish face. Maybe a little younger than Whitehouse. Anyway, so yeah, here we are. What are we gonna do? I don't know who that guy is that got beat. He just got beat last year, I think it was. You're gonna Sherrod Brown. That's it, Sherrod Brown. That's what I'm talking about. Sherrod Brown is another one who really, was true blue, right? True blue. Um, Beto is great, but he's got problems in Texas because he keeps speaking his mind. He keeps saying what he believes, and that, the guides are saying they've kind of poisoned the electorate against Beto the same way they poisoned Hillary, right? Like again, they're calling it that swift boating, right? Swift boating, when like you poison somebody's reputation, you destroy their reputation. So that's what they've done to Beto. They've just destroyed his reputation. I don't know that he'll ever win in in Texas. And plus, he also is supposed to be a senator, and then he ran for governor. A good question would be: there's a new Hinojosa, right? The woman who who won the Democratic um, Party ticket for governor of Texas is Hinojosa. Um, and so the question is, will she win? Because, Abbott can't, the governor can't keep, I just don't think they can keep, they're doing the same thing that Trump is doing, where there's this criminal enterprise that they have to stay in power to cover it all up. Because, Paxton has like 5 FBI indictments, and he's still there. I mean, these people are truly criminals. Sherrod is a good man. That's what I'm saying. That him and Jasmine very similar. Now people are saying to me, Jasmine has a future. She could come back and be whatever, right? Like she could be in the cabinet of a presidency. But you know what? When you go into Jasmine's energy, nobody tells her what to do. Like I don't know that she wants to do that. Whatever she does, she wants to have an impact. That's why some of these people really want to be in Congress, because they feel like they have this closer connection to their constituents versus being in the cabinet in the White House. You're just so removed, right? So I think Jasmine, whatever she decides to do in the next, yeah, right. This is what I was just getting ready to say. Hey, I'm learning here, was president. I think that give her 4 years, 6 years, she's going to be in the White House in a different capacity, either VP or president. But here's the thing. This is what the guides just told me. Like, they are so afraid of her. They are so afraid of her. They're going to do the same thing to her that they did to Hillary. This is what they did during this race. They've completely made up things about her, and people believe it. So I don't know if she can overcome that or not. They're gunning for her the way they gunned for Hillary. They just pounded Hillary for decades. Really, it was just crazy. Um, and she's crushed. She was as crushed as Kamala Harris was. She really was. So that's going to take a minute for her to get over it, and decide how she's going to move on. Hey, Libby, good to see you. Yeah, I agree. There's some energy there. Um, so yeah, I think that it's fascinating that Condoleezza Rice is gonna be trying to save the White House or whatever she's trying to save. Um, and I think that this is the beginning of the end. I think that there is a lot more casualties and just destruction of our identity through, you think, I don't think any of us, using the words jingoistic again, right? Like being patriotic to a fault. I don't know that we're that person anymore. We've been through Vietnam, we've been through Iraq, Afghanistan. We've kind of decided maybe we're not that patriotic. I don't know. But it's symbol. So the guides are saying it's just like destroying the White House, the wing of the White House. It was a symbol. It was a symbol of who we were, who we are. And these bases that are being flattened, this is this is like Pearl Harbor. Remember when the guides mentioned Pearl Harbor a couple of, like, 4 months ago? And we're going to have a false flag, right? But this is not before they could do it. Iran is doing it, just not here on our soil, but these are representations of us. These bases are representations of us. It's it's going to be pretty bad. It's going to be really bad. Um Yeah, yeah. Jasmine would be an awesome speaker, but I think she might be too fiery. I mean, I think Jasmine likes being a senator or a congresswoman because she can, she doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Like the speaker is supposed to be this kind of like supposed to be neutral, whatever. I think she likes to be fiery. She likes to be her own woman. So yeah, Jasmine run against Cruz. I don't know when Cruz is ready again. Look, this is bad timing because she would have run for governor. I mean, she would have done something else, but them redistricting her, and she just doesn't have a lot of options. And what does she do? Like, so she's in Congress, I think, for another year. So that's good. Um, You know what they just showed me? It is true. Like another year from now, we could be having that weird parliament thing. We could be reimagining our government. We could have a coalition government, and she could be a part of that. Now, I could see her being a part of the tribunal. I could see her being a part of this truth commission the guides are talking about. So, she's in Congress for almost, I think, another year. So that puts us on the timeline of we're now ready to start dealing with this. Wouldn't it be amazing? I mean, truly, like, wouldn't it be amazing if she was working with Jack Smith? Y'all, that would make me feel so much better about everything right there. If she was working alongside Jack Smith, I could almost sleep at night again. The primaries don't count. Interesting. It that I could believe that. I could believe that, Libby, because if the whole thing is treasonous, yeah, I could believe that. But I'll say this too, you guys. Let me just say this too before we wrap this up shortly. Um, the next 3 months are going to be wild, and I mean, whatever you've seen till now is nothing compared to what we're going to see with the next 3 months. So I would caution you. I would ask you to just shelter in place. This is what the guide said in my video yesterday. Step back, step back a little bit, And here's the reason why I'm saying this also, because when I saw about the primaries, that Libby said the primaries might not count, and then I saw what could happen to make the primaries not count. Well, it would be treason, right? It would actually be this whole cabinet being arrested. So that's, we talked about putting Humpty Dumpty back together, just slapping things together. Well, then that doesn't work. We're not going to pretend this. We're going to know Humpty Dumpty is treasonous, so Humpty Dumpty has to go. The reason that could happen is because all these people who are unawake, all these people who are unawake are going to wake up, and it's going to be a tsunami of people and energy, and they're going to be those berserker people. They're going to be mindless, literally brainless, literally just so angry that they're not thinking straight. Those are the people who can come in and change this and make that kind of change. You and I, we still have our faculties. We're still seeing reality. We're still trying to work within the system, or at least understand what's happening. And those people are going to just roll over us. They're going to roll over everybody. They're absolutely berserk. They're insane. So this is why it would be a good time for us to step back. This is what the guides have always said, right? That there's going to be this group of people who's going to rush past us. And what I've always said is step back and let them go. You can't talk to them. You can't tell them what's going on. You can't explain anything to them. They cannot hear you. Their blood is in their head to a degree that they can't hear anything. You know how people talk about when they're so mad that their head is full of this noise, and they can't hear anybody. They can't be talked to in a way that has any type of meaning or reality. So my suggestion is all of us, we need to shelter in place. We need to take a step back, because the things that are about to happen, we didn't make this happen. We can't fix it. I can't fix it. You can't fix it. So why are we trying to fix it? We've done all the things. We wrote to our Congress people. We protested. We did all the things. Didn't matter. It didn't matter. The only thing that's going to change this now, Condoleezza Rice is trying. This is what she's trying to avoid. This is the whole thing she's trying to avoid. The whole thing is going to go down the tubes, and it's going to be because of this roar of people who have been asleep, who heard the word draft, who saw that their bases are annihilated, who saw our military running for their lives. Oh, and at the same time, gas is $6 a gallon, which in the United States is a lot. $8 a gallon. Oh no, those people that have been asleep, they're all going to wake up. And I don't want to be in their way, and I don't want you to be in their way. Let them take care of it. We've done our work. We've truly done everything we can do. What I would suggest is we take some time off. It doesn't mean stick your head in the sand. It doesn't mean don't watch the news. It means stop watching the news by 50 to 75%, including me, if that's what that means. Because we need to be of sound mind when we get the opportunity, when that truth council happens, when we're like, okay, like Libby says, the primaries aren't going to count, and we have a snap election, and we only have 60 days to campaign for the ones that we want to win. That's when we need to be ready. We've got to be ready for that. If we're exhausted, sick, depressed, we're going to be like, no, I can't. I can't do anything. Well, that would be a tragedy, because we're the ones that actually have the sound mind. We're the ones that actually know what's human, what's humane. Take your time off now, because we're going to have to get busy in the summer when all of this is starting to shift. You and I are going to be very, very busy. But right now is not the time. Now is the time to lay low and to take really good care of yourself. That's just what the guides have been saying for me. That's what I've been saying to you all. You may want to think about it, consider it. Yes, I did leave Texas finally. I left last June, actually. You're see, this is the thing, right? So strong and wavering faith says, how do we focus our energy to turn things around? I'm trying to break it to you. I'm trying to break it to you. Don't you think that our energy would have already turned it around? I mean, my God, we're praying every day. We're working so hard. It's not up to us anymore. We've done everything we can do. I can't save this. You can't save this. Who's going to turn it around? Are those millions of people who are asleep. Those people, because the sheer numbers of them, they're going to get in the streets. They're going to get rowdy, really, really rowdy. Again, this is why Condoleezza Rice is in the White House, because she's trying to stop this. She's trying to defuse the bomb that's about to blow up. That's why she's there. So we're not going to use our energy. We're going to take care of ourselves. If you have a light, you are a light. Just keep your home fire burning, the guides are saying. Mind your own campfire. Keep your campfire going. If we all keep our own campfire going, then we're a much bigger light. Then in that way, we are helping. But I can't change these people's minds. I can't change their actions. All I can do is take care of me and not let my light get so dim that nobody can see it, that it's not helping anything. So it's a little bit opposite. Rather than helping everybody else, we have to help ourselves. And in doing so, we are helping others. I know it sounds maybe counterintuitive, but that's where we are. If we keep going at this in the same way we have been going at it, we're going to be sick, literally physically sick, physically ill. We're going to be exhausted. We're going to be worthless. And we can't have that. We really are going to have an opportunity to sit at a table and bargain. We're going to have an opportunity to really counsel people, to help people, to get together and have real change. But you know what? We need hope. We need to keep our hope alive. And if we keep throwing our hope against this darkness, it's going to die. And by the time we can use it, it's going to be gone. We're going to be hopeless. So hold on to your hope right now. Pull it back in. Know that when it's ready, when its time is right, you can take your hope out and it's going to have real effect. But right now, it's just you're throwing your hope into the Grand Canyon of darkness. And it's exhausting. It's not helping. Right. So here's a positive thing. Listen to Obama's speech at Reverend Jesse Jackson's funeral. It features hope. It's hard to have hope right now. I get it. Look, you guys, we haven't seen anything yet. I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. That's why I don't want you to be exposed to it. I want you to protect yourself from it. We did not cause this. We cannot fix this. We have to wait till such a time that we can engage and have real effect, have a real chance at making a difference. This isn't exactly the time. Yeah, I did a meditation. Hold on and hold your light. There's a meditation. It's really really good meditation. It's on this channel, I think, under the playlist of meditations. Um, it is depressing. It is. It is. That's why don't look at the horrors that are happening. I got this dog. Y'all, why? Why in the world did spirit have me get a dog? Well, because every day I'm interacting with him, right? I got him from the rescue. I had to give him a new name. You know what I mean? Like I'm being distracted by love, right? This dog is a ball of love. And that spirit was like, you need a distraction. So you guys get a plant, get a hobby, help your community if you have time. You know, find a way to refocus into something that mirrors light back to you, because your light's going to be a lot brighter. And that's really going to help things in the end. I mean, and imagine, this is a really good point that Bear's mom says. If anybody can give me hope, it's Obama. How does he have hope? Right? You got to know that he knows even more than we do, right? He knows even more. He's a constitutional scholar. He understands what the Constitution has been shredded up in, like a hamster cage, you know? So if this guy can get out there and have hope, I think we can find some hope too, right? Because he has really got to be seeing the horrors, just truly the horrors. Yeah, we didn't start the fire. We really can't put it out. We just have to take care of ourselves right now, because there's going to come a time when Jasmine Crockett's going to be there with Jack Smith in some kind of tribunal. And I don't know about you, but I want to be here on this planet. I want to live to see that. I want to witness that. I want to witness justice. So we've got to take care of ourselves. Yeah. Oh my, you have a rescue dog and 10 cats. That'll keep you busy. Yes, he is a love ball. My dog is a love ball. He went to doggy daycare today so that he could exhaust himself. And it's only his second day that he's ever been there. So just like any new parent, I'm like, did he do okay? Because I'm thinking, I've only had him for 2 weeks. He's a rescue dog. And they said, yeah, my coworker wanted to take him home. He's a lover boy. He's convincing everybody to fall in love with him. Yeah, this is a really good point that Libby has. Meister Tarot on YouTube. By staying out of the way, we're speeding up the unravel of the timeline. I think that's a really good point, right? It's like when the kid gets in the middle of something you're doing, and you can't do it fast enough because the kids are always messing it up, right? So I think that's a really, really good point that she says there. So um do I call him gassy? I should. Boy dogs. Like I've only had two boy dogs my whole life. I've had a whole lot of female dogs, and I'm thinking that I need to get him Axe. Whatever that is that men use. He needs like some kind of odor control, right? Like he needs odor control. Why are boy dogs so stinky? I don't know. But it is a boy thing, I'm gonna say. Oh no, I have my other dog. She's just putting up with him. Actually, she likes having a job. She I was yelling for him to come inside because he was barking, and she came up to me like, "Don't yell at my brother." I'm like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? They're already now ganging up against me." Yeah, they get along great. It's just that she's old and she's really a little delicate. So, and he's 70 pounds and he's a year old. So he kind of knocks her around by accident sometimes. Yeah, the food, my God, the food this dog eats, my God. Holy cow. He eats like a horse or something. But anyway, it's sweet. It's a good distraction. So find your own distraction. Do jigsaw puzzles, get a plant, get something you have to take care of, really, like a plant, or feed the birds outside. Um, Talk to the trees outside, talk to the clouds. Just find something to focus on besides what is happening. Oh, good. This is good. Um, Waterless shampoo makes them smell better. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm about to go get some Axe and like underarm spray or something and put him put it on. Yeah, Libby is here. She said that she saw Congress being dissolved. Listen, the energy is that it's like we throw the baby out with the bathwater. Either we dissolve it, or we vote them out, or they leave because they're going to be voted out. Like, so the dissolving energy could be that can be happening all kinds of ways. But yes, I totally agree. Yes, stock up on. So that's another thing I think maybe I said, but I'm not sure. They said have an extra, especially, like if you have any pets at all, have an extra bag of food. So you always rotate them out, but you always have one extra bag because that getting that extra bag could give you a week's, without, if you can't get food, or depending on how big it is, it could be a month. But having an extra bag of pet food would also be really important, along with the water. I'm just telling you guys that I went out and bought, having lived in hurricane land for so long, I would buy food that I would never eat. I'm telling you, I would have no food and I wouldn't eat it. It's like, I'm not going to eat that food. So the guides were saying, a lot of us are saying, oh, go out and buy rice and beans. But if you're not a cook, if you're not a person who cooks, you're not going to cook rice and beans. Those are not easy things to cook. You got to soak the beans. I mean, this is not an easy thing. And if you don't have power, and you're cooking on a camp stove, I'm just saying, instead of going out and getting 5 pounds of rice and beans that you're not going to cook, because you're not going to have the energy, you're not going to feel like cooking. If cooking doesn't make you happy, when you're depressed, you're out of power, you're hot, you're cold, you're not going to want to cook. So think about that. What will you eat? Jerky, peanut butter. Get a big old jar of peanut butter. Make sure that you always have an extra loaf of bread. What would you eat if you didn't have power for a week? You may think you're going to eat beanie weenies out of a can, but you might not. You might hate that, right? So just don't spend extra money on food that you're not even going to cook. Also, those freeze dried meals that you get, that those survival meals, they take a lot of water. So also think about that. Like rice and beans is going to take a lot of water. Well, there goes half your water stock. But if you were eating a can of tuna, or a can of chicken, or a peanut butter sandwich, you're not using water. Okay, so just think about it like that. I don't want you guys to spend a lot of money on stuff that you don't use. Um, so yeah, that's really important. Like sardines and crackers, right? I can tell you, when you're in that situation, you're super stressed out. And if you're a person who cooks when they're stressed out, because there are those people, they're going to be out in the backyard with the grill. They're going to be cooking everybody's food because that's what they do and they love it. And that's great. Please, I hope you have somebody like that in your neighborhood, because they will cook for days, because this is how they deal with stress. But if you're not that person, you're not a person who cooks when you're stressed out, have something that you can eat and you want to eat. Don't buy crappy food. Don't buy food that's hard to make. Chocolate. Yep, have your chocolate. Good. Well, I'm glad. If you love to cook, then find those people, because you can take your rice and beans to that person. And then somebody else has got an onion, and then somebody else has got this, and then all of a sudden you got a really nice meal. But you yourself may not make it. So it could be a waste of money, right? But that's also why community comes together when you have a natural disaster, or you have something like a hacking situation where your electricity is out, because all of a sudden I've got the rice, but you've got beans. This person's got a tomato and an onion. This person's got spices. This person has the grill. Now we're all coming together to help each other. Conversely, that's why they're not ever going to take us over, because we're all going to look to each other for help. We're not going to look to the government. The government doesn't help us in a natural disaster. We're all helping each other. Ooh, biscotti? You make biscotti? She cooks only one thing and it's biscotti. Wow. All right. I love that. I love that you make biscotti. So yeah, any last questions? I'm about to shut this down. We've been going for 2 hours. Um, oh yeah, so coffee. Now for real, Libby, like I have an entire extra month worth of coffee in this house right now. So yes, there are some things that that are good. Oh, okay. So change the dog's diet. Okay, that's a good. That's a good. Thank you, JC. Oh, I've got one of them here. Um, yeah, if you have any um last questions, yep, find the person who has the you can find all the people, just sort of get to know each other, and it's going to be super helpful. So you guys are sharing like nuts. If you're not allergic to nuts, nuts are good. Protein bars. I bought protein bars and I put them in a Tupperware container that's sealed. So hopefully, nothing can get in there. I can leave it like that for months. And if I need it, I can grab a protein bar because that's me. I would just grab a protein bar and be fine. So just figure out what works for you. Oh, bummer, Betsy. Well, I'm glad you finally found us. The algorithm did not work out for you, but I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I think that's what Cuba would have been. I think Cuba would have been, or it had the potential to be like Mexican type resorts before Castro and before the United States, right? Because we had the Bay of Pigs. I mean, there was a lot of things going on that kind of made Cuba go the direction that it went. Um, all right, let's talk about that. Extra water for all that coffee. Excellent point. Excellent point. Maybe that's why I bought an extra 2 gallons. Let's talk about this, and then I'm going to end this. And thank you so much for hanging out. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. I'm so close to 100,000, you guys. I might be less than 1,000 subscribers away. There's 4,000 people here. Do the math. Please hit the subscribe button. It's free. Also, know that I have an online community that's also free. I pay the bills. It's not on YouTube. It's not on Meta. It's completely separate. No trolls, no advertising. It's free. We just hang out there and chat with each other. I have another online community that I'm there with you for 6 hours a month, doing readings, doing all kinds of different events that I do with my members. It's only $12 a month. Plus, I have a kick ass newsletter. I can't believe I said those words because I hated newsletters until I started writing it. The guides channel it. It comes out every Friday. It's very, very popular. If you're interested in any of that, go to my website, susanlynnmedium.com. Okay, let's do this question. Charisse says, do we see a depression for the USA economics future since the grifting of our affecting our nation? I don't know if it's a depression. I think that's a very specific term that I don't want to use that term because I don't know that we're going to go into a depression, but I think we're going to go into a recession. I think we could have inflation. We could have stagflation, which is also a very specific term. I think things are going to get, the problem is when I just looked at it, the problem is that we can't really get out of it. We we we've spent we don't even know how much money has been taken from the treasury. We don't know we don't know what has happened to our country. We don't. And we don't have the money or the guides are saying the mechanisms to balance this, to save us. So the bottom line is if the money's missing, then we're going to need to have this economic hardship to make up for it. Now, let me tell you that these people I was just describing, these people that are just now waking up, well, they're going to start being very angry at the robber barons. They're going to be very angry at corporations. I mean, corporations are getting their butt kicked right now. People are not shopping with them. People don't like them. So I think that's going to get even worse. And what that means is that if we take care of ourselves now, so that when we get an opportunity to sit at the table and bargain, we can actually get these taxes raised for these billionaires who have more money than they've ever had, period, end of story. They can pay way more taxes. So I think that if we can do that, then we can actually right the ship without having a prolonged recession or a prolonged stagflation situation. But we are going to have it because we'll look what's happening. Gas is already going up. The gas prices are already going up, and gas prices affect the supply chain because you need to put gas in the vehicle to take the produce. You need to put gas in the vehicle to take the goods. So now the goods and the produce and everything is more expensive. Everything is going to get more expensive. And that can't be fixed very quickly, is what the guides are saying. Even if we started taxing the billionaires, we're not going to start doing that, maybe even for another 6, 8 months to a year. One of the things the guide said, which I think is so smart, is your house gets knocked down by a tornado, you don't rebuild it the next day. You don't rebuild it the next month. It might take you a year or 2 years to rebuild your house. Meanwhile, you're living in a FEMA trailer or a tent or the hotel or with family, but your house is gone. So this is us. Our house is gone. And we're going to have some period of time of discomfort, some period of time of hardship where things are just going to be hard. And that's going to be that. Now, if we don't get a handle on this very quickly, and again, I tell you, this is why Condoleezza Rice is in the White House, because she doesn't want us to go into a depression. Because guess what? Her robber barons aren't going to get paid. We're not going to Disneyland. We're not going on vacation. We're not buying a new car. We're not doing things, right? So the robber barons start feeling that pinch. So that's why they're trying to put this back together before anybody knows what happens. Um, but if we don't do that, if none of us are successful, if we're not successful, Condoleezza Rice isn't successful, if the universe isn't successful getting him out of this planet, then there's a potential that we could dip into a little bit of a depression. It really is. And the guides are telling me again, they've talked about this, maybe this is the third time, the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl during the Depression was when the soil was it was over farmed. The farms were over farmed, and the topsoil was dust. It just blew off. There was nothing to hold it down. So none of that farmland was good. People couldn't feed themselves. It was part of the whole depression. This could happen too. Our farmland, something could happen to our farmland. Um, just this is not a prepare for the next week. This is prepare for the next 6 months, right? So the guides have been saying for a long time to go, if you don't have a lot of money, go to the food pantry and get some food, and then take that $10 that you would spend at the grocery store and put it aside, and just keep doing that until you have $100 or $200. If you have money, then maybe it's a time to say, I'm going to start stockpiling some extra savings, right? Because you might lose your job, because something might happen. And those people that have a little cushion, they're the ones that can survive these things without ending up having to sell their house or living in their car or something. Be prepared now. Get an extra job. If you're not sure about your job, get an extra job. Now is the time. Right now is the time to start preparing for it. Hopefully that makes sense. If you can't find a job, I will say, you guys, there is this energy. Again, I don't think I describe it well, but some people that are saying they can't find a job, it could be that spirit is trying to make you get a better job. Like um, maybe you're trying to get a job that's what you think. It would be like, well, anybody can get this job. I'll just apply for this job, right? Whatever that is. Like, you're like, this is the bottom of the rung for me. I'll just apply for this. Well, if spirit is like, no, you're selling yourself out. We don't want you to do that. Then you're not going to get those jobs. Once you start applying for better jobs, you start getting those jobs. And then you understand, oh, snap, right? I wasn't supposed to devalue myself and take this job that really doesn't use my skills. So that's kind of, one way to look at it. but there will be strikes, there will be people, it's just going to be mayhem. I'm just telling you, it's going to be mayhem, and nobody, the elite, the robber barons cannot control this. They cannot control these people that are going to wake up and become this big, just huge energy. That could be people going on strike, it could be people protesting, it could be people uh, having where they don't buy things. It's just they cannot control this. This is beyond their ability to control, and it's going to, in a way, kind of destroy everything. But that's because, again, we're not discerning this is good. Maybe we shouldn't do this. We're just going to destroy it all. We're going to burn it all to the ground because we can't figure out anymore who's good, who's bad. We're going to get rid of the whole thing. That's the energy of it, right? It's going to affect schools for sure, 100%. It's going to affect schools, and even really colleges and universities are really going to be affected. They don't not going to have the money to keep classes going. There, it's just the whole environment of college is going to change, right? You think about going to the football games or going to the different, it all of that is going to change. We're not really going to support things that are just these great big huge money sinks. I'm just telling you, people are going to be like, yeah, we love this football team and we want to support it, but the generally speaking, people won't support it. So things are going to get small, things are going to get toned down, just really toned down. Yeah, somebody came back and said, "My God, you're still here talking?" Yeah, that's such a good that's such a good point. Listen, everybody, it's going to be okay. We're going to get decentralized, dissolving, right? All these things are going to be dissolving. Institutions are going to be dissolving. Institutions we love might be dissolving. Institutions we don't love might be dissolving. It's just, we just, they're not going to work. They're not working. They're not working for everybody. Just because this works for some people, it's got to kind of work for everybody. And that's where we are. It's like, well, just because you like this, it's not really working for the greater group. So it'll have to change. Yeah, the NFL, things like sports, things like big, now, sports are interesting because they are an entertainment, they're an escape. It's an escape, and we need an escape. During the Depression, you had prohibition, you had gambling. People wanted the escape. So, sports is an escape. Professional sports might not fare as they are going to fare bad just because people aren't going to pay those ticket prices, but people still want escapes. Um, we'll just have to see how it kind of plays out, how it all manifests. Yeah, I agree with that, Sin Baron. Yeah, horse racing. These things are going to start changing, I think, in a pretty big ways. Um, yeah, and I agree with Libby. There's no single player worth millions a year, especially when women are playing at a really high level and get paid, 20% of what the men get paid. So you might see an increase in women's sports. People are like, oh, I want an escape, but I want to benefit these women because they're the underdogs. And the idea of the slick of the wealth is going to start turning us off, right? Like all of that celebrity and wealth is going to start turning us off in general, and we're not going to want to be a part of it. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting, you guys. Yeah, look at how much gas has gone up just in the last 48 hours. It's going to go up a lot more, you guys. I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to be a deal breaker for the United States, for people. People get upset about gas prices for sure. Um yeah, so anyway, you guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for spending this time with me tonight. I really appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the respect. I appreciate the support that you give me and also you give each other. Thank you so much for that. Take really, really good care of yourselves. I'll tell you one thing. God knows we've been through it, right? We've been through Biden stepping down. We've been through Kamala losing. Been through, God knows, this hellscape. We're going to get through this too. We're going to get to the other side of this. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay together. We're going to be here one time celebrating that we've gotten through it. I'm going to get through it with you. You're going to get through it with all of us. And we're going to do it together. Okay. That's how we're going to do this. So take really, really good care of yourself. And I'll see you on the flip side. Yeah, we're stronger together. That's right. We got through COVID together. My God, right? Like, look at the things we've been through. Actually, this whole community was formed during his first reign of terror. His first reign of terror is what brought us all together. And I'm grateful for that at least, right? So I'm grateful for you all. Take really, really good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Much love.